Good morning. Good morning. As I'm walking, good morning. Good morning. As you come in, I just want to share my story. So maybe, I guess, just so that every perspective can be heard. Wow. As I was walking this morning, and I was just so overcome with anxiety as just the reality. And my arm is shaking. So if you see the camera shaking, that's because I'm just like the reality of life for my son and life for my children. And like when you embrace the concepts of God and when you embrace the Christianity, and when you embrace loving all people, and it's when you don't get that in return. I've never been a person to see color. And while I was walking and I was just meditating on everything that's happening in the world, and when your son comes to an understanding even what the N-word means, and because you don't use that terminology, you don't walk around calling people niggers, that's not in your vocabulary or in your culture. And because of everything that's happening, and he's 12 now, turning 13, so he may appear to be a risk. He may be another Trayvon Martin. He may be another, what's the little boy that was playing with the gun at the park and the police came and shot him down. And when you live a life and you love all people, like I genuinely have never seen color. I embrace my Puerto Rican friends. I grew up in the projects among whites, and my first best friend, and she's still one of my best friends today, slept over my house. I had all kind of friends growing up. I didn't live a life where I saw any difference, and I didn't teach my children that. My children don't see color. And now that my son is growing up in a world that will label him, and I guess the reality of everything that's happening, and because he's old enough to recognize, and I'm trying not to be so emotional to where I can't talk, because I really just want to just go into prayer and just cry out to God, because it's like you are marked in this world, and it's like, yes, I'm covering my seed in prayer. Yes, I'm praying about his connections and who he's around, and my son is not a thug. We don't raise him to be thuggish. We don't raise him to be destructive. We don't raise him. But I just found out the other day, amidst all of the racism and amidst all of the news reports, and because his eyes are open to the truth, he's no longer, quote unquote, a baby. So he sees he's going into 7th grade. So let me tell you the story. Let me go back to my baby girl, Madison. As we don't teach color, we don't reference people that white girl. We don't reference people that Caucasian. We just reference people. That girl right there with the red hair, that girl. We tend to not reference color in our home because we don't see color. We just see people. And we want to teach our children to just see people and embrace people for who they are. So Madison was entering into kindergarten, and when she would come home, we would ask her about her friends. We would say, whose friend, what's their name? And Malachi, because he knew some of the kids, he asked her, he said, well, how does your friend look? And she says, brown like me. She didn't say black, or she didn't say he's white, because she didn't know that color. And because Malachi was a little older, he looked at me and he's just smiled. He says, Mommy, she doesn't know. And I smile because I don't teach my kids like difference between people. I don't teach them. But when you teach your child evil ways, when you teach your children evil, when you teach your children how to hate, when you teach your children how to be afraid of people because of how they look, no matter where they come from. And I live in a I live in a very good community. I live in an awesome town. I live in a place where, it's very nice. There's no, you can kind of see our subdivision. We live in a very nice subdivision, but it breaks your heart when your 11-year-old is on his Xbox playing with one of his friends through, he has an Xbox now, and he's playing on the Xbox with one of his friends who is a white girl. He has many friends of different culture, races. Matter of fact, I think he has more Caucasian friends than anything. And we embrace that. We like one of his best friends is one of his best friends from kindergarten. And they're still friends today now that they're going in 7th grade. He's been over my house. We've had play dates. We've done birthday parties. We've gone swimming. I've let him go with her. She's let her son go with me. We don't see culture. In fact, so much so that they used to call each other twins. When they were in kindergarten, they said that they were twins, and we didn't correct them. We didn't say, well, you can't be twins because he's black and you're white. And I'm going to post a picture of my son and his best friend, Elias. Nicole might see this or she might not. And I probably could do a live with her and just how that relationship. But while he's playing the Xbox, y'all, some little boy, 9 or 10-year-old, sends my son a message, F you, nigger. 9, 10. I have the proof in my son's phone. And this is amidst all of this that's happening. This was just last week. So I had to talk to my son because we don't see color and we don't make a big difference. But I have to now have all of those conversations with my child that somebody shouldn't have to say, because of how you look, you may be profiled, because of how you look, because of what people say, just because people say things don't mean that you are. I shouldn't have to explain somebody else's behavior to my child. But amidst all of the racial tension, it just really hit me like my child's innocence is being snatched from him because of somebody else's evil heart that would teach their 9 or 10-year-old child to call somebody else a nigger. He couldn't even spell the words properly. He wasn't even spelling the words properly. And I'm going to have my son screenshot the text message, and I'm going to post it to my wall. And so afterwards, me and Malachi started having dialogue. And he said, well, Mom, I've been called a nigger on the playground. And it shocked me because he had never expressed that to me. And I said, what? And it broke my heart because he didn't come. I said, you don't ever not come to me. I said to him, if there's anybody that you can trust, it's me and your dad. If there's anybody that you can tell everything to, it is me and your dad. I said, don't you ever let somebody call you something and you don't come tell me, because I'm going to hop in my car and go find his parents and confront that, because nobody should be calling you anything that I haven't put on your birth certificate. Your name is Malachi Downs, and you should have told him that's not my name. That's not who I am. My name is Malachi Downs. So he's walking through my neighborhood with some of his friends, mind you, because majority of his friends are Caucasian. Majority of his friends. If you see my subdivision, like, we don't live in a bad neighborhood. We live in a very suburban neighborhood. My son goes to a very suburban school, a school where I posted on there today that my son has all A's in school. So how can a boy who has all A's, that's trying to achieve and that's trying to gain things in life, but then you got little white boys or Caucasian people or even other people of other races, even your own kind. How can you get upset about somebody calling you a nigger and you call your own kind a nigger all day long? That grieves me. How can you get upset about somebody killing your people because you killing them all day? We have to stop this. And it has to begin with us. If we treat each other right, it'll teach other people how to treat us. And my 12-year-old son just now, and I don't know when it happened, because I'm just now letting him to have liberties and go with his friends without my supervision. And I always have those conversations about trusting him. I always have conversations about choosing right. I don't care who chooses wrong. You always make the right decision. You always make the right choice. I don't care who does what in the neighborhood. Don't let it be said that that's you. I always have these conversations about him. And before he leaves, I always tell him, I'm trusting you with more. Don't let me down. Go through the neighborhood, have your fun with your friends, but remember who you are. I don't care who's bullying. I don't care who's talking about somebody. Don't let it be you. And he's like, Mom, I know you tell me this all the time. And I said, I'm just telling you to remind you before you leave this house. So the other day after this incident where he's playing Xbox, mind you, with one of his Caucasian friends. Because we don't see color. We go to a multicultural church where when we came to the multicultural church, we were embraced with so much love. We were embraced. Our pastors, Rusty and Victoria Rayleigh, I never really experience racism head on. I know that it's around me. I know that I experienced it, not really knowing the heart of people, because it is evil that's lodged in the heart. And until Jesus comes back, y'all, honestly, we're going to deal with that, because it is evil lodged in the heart of men, and it is an assignment from hell. But what we have to do is stand up for right. And I want my voice to be heard. I want my experience to be out there. I want people to know that it's real and it's alive, no matter how you teach your children, no matter what you tell them, no matter how they handle themselves. My son is very sensitive to atmospheres. My son is sensitive to Holy Spirit. My son is an all-around good kid. And here he is on the playground experiencing somebody calling him a nigger. And then he tells me after the fact. So our sons are having to deal with cultural issues, and there may be a shame that's placed on them when that happens. There may be a devaluing of who they are when that happens. And mothers and fathers, we have to continually to affirm and reaffirm our sons and reaffirm our daughters of who they are, of their purpose, of their destiny. And I guess while I was walking and I was just meditating on just everything that's happening in the world, my heart began to break, because no matter where you live, no matter how you teach your children, No matter, we were watching this little documentary of these little kids, and it had to be like in the 1970s or 50s, 60s. And it was the same scenario where these black kids were passing through a white neighborhood, and the Caucasian, I'm sorry, I don't even know what type of words to say it. But anyway, because I don't use these words, so I just say people. And they were being called niggers. Stones were being thrown at them, and the kids were saying, we're just trying to pass through, and they're doing this, they always say that it's us. But you have your very different, people are going to be people, yes. And you can't live your life based off one group of people and one experience and treat everybody the same way because of evil in the heart of one or two or three or four or 50,000 individuals. You have to live your experience, based off of your discernment, and just ask God to cover you and cover your family and teach your children, and, operating in love. But it hurts. It hurts when you give out so much to people and you get evil back. That hurts. That hurts your heart when you give out so much to people and you love people and you genuinely care about people. And right, Shannon. Excuse me, sorry. And you really just care about people and you love people, and then you just get evil back and evil's around you. And just because of you walk in a room and you dark, there's so many stipulations placed on you and things placed on you and prejudices. You're prejudging somebody. So I think I just got overcome because as I'm walking, I'm listening to some of these news reports and how Amy Cooper used the color of her skin to attack or try to bring down a black man who was asking her to obey the law. Oh my God. And to think, George Floyd, he was crying out for his mother. I couldn't fathom, no matter how old my son is, that he would be dying and crying out for me because somebody that was supposed to protect him, or crying out for me while he's walking my neighborhood innocently, and somebody's child is calling him a nigger, or somebody's child is profiling him or putting something on him that's not him. And then that'll be my child on ABC News because it'll be said he was just walking the neighborhood with his friends. It'll be said he was a straight A student. It'll be said everybody loved Malachi at Manuka School. He didn't deserve that. So we have to really, through Congress, through our platforms on social media, voice your opinion. Put your experiences out there. Let people know that this is not okay and it has to stop. And we may not be able to stop the hearts of all individuals because evil is evil. And, evil hides and evil festers. And you can't control what people teach in their own homes, but we can put systems in place across the board that will cause people to second guess themselves, to know that you're not going to get any less punishment. You're going to be held to a higher standard. You're going to be held accountable for what you do, and not allowing people to get off unless like third-degree murder. Nah, you cold-bloodedly killed that man in front of people like he was a dog on the street. No. It's not right. What if that was my 11-year-old son? George Floyd didn't even fight. He didn't fight. Call Malachi's name. Don't call him a nigger. Call his name. So, stand up. And when your children or your brothers or you for that matter, or anybody that you know, when they have these experiences like, it hurts my heart because when you love people, genuinely, excuse me, good morning. Amen. Look this is my neighbor in my subdivision. God bless you. As I'm talking, she's like, amen. And that's the type of life that I live. I embrace all people Like I was walking through the neighborhood the other day and one of my neighbors stopped me and she was like, "You're walking every morning." And I'm like, "Girl, I got to, because that's just who I am." Like the love of God, when the true love of God resides in you, you love people, you forgive people, but you also require justice. You require justice, and because our God is a God of justice, I decree justice over my son experiencing what he experienced while being a kid. So, yeah, if that was a dog in America, everybody would have been outraged. You know, that woman got her dog taken away just because she pulled on him. She got punishment for that. But did she get punishment for trying to defame a man? Did she get punishment for trying to defame a man? So, yeah, so it broke my heart. Yes, Lindsay. And Lindsay was one of my neighbors. Like, she and we would go couponing together. You know, our kids would play together when she lived in our neighborhood. And, you know, it's kind of hard. We keep saying, we got to get together. She moved out of the neighborhood. But I don't see color. And I don't teach people. I don't teach my children that. And that's not the first thing I see when I see people. I just see a person. Oh my God. And it's crazy because in amidst all of this, I was really searching my heart. And I was like, God, I said, I know you're a God of justice. And, you know, it was grieving my heart. But dang, like when it actually hits your home and you can move to the classiest of neighborhoods. You can move to the best of the best. You can have the most money than anybody, and you're going to still experience evil. Why? Because evil lodges in the hearts of men, and it comes out. So, yeah, I mean, if you're one of my Caucasian friends, teach your children. Teach them to be agents of change. Teach them to see people. You know, no matter if you're African, Iranian, Chinese, this ain't a black-white issue. This is a heart issue. This is an issue that lodges itself in the hearts of men. This is an issue that spans beyond black and white. You know, President Trump's words against the Chinese, that's racism. We see color, but your color should not matter. Exactly. Like, that's nothing. Like, you see color because you need to be aware that there is color. But it doesn't say, oh, you're better than me because you're white, or you're less than me because you're black, or because you come from, you know, Cabrini Green, or, you know, you come from the baddest part of town, that you're nothing. You know, you can be racist against people that come from different neighborhoods, different economic classes. It doesn't just, it's not just black and white. It's a heart issue. And in order for it to change, we got to teach change, right? Starts in those schools. If they're not teaching it in school, at home, in those schools, they need to have classes. They need to put systems in place where if they're not teaching it, the teachers are teaching classes about differences. I mean, they've gotten better. But we got to do some things. Like, this system has to change so that people can live life free of judgment and being afraid to die because you look a certain way. Like, and if the president, if he's heralding racial slurs, and God help us all. But it goes back, y'all, listen, it goes back to that live that I did before President Trump got in office. Holy Spirit showed me political unrest. We were headed where some of our liberties were about to be threatened. Some things were about to take place, and it was going to be a lot of trouble in the land. So I know you have shared it, girl. She is on it. So those of you that have the direct call from God, like Shannon, against injustices, and that God has placed that fire in you, let your voices be heard. Those that don't know what to do, speak out on your platforms. Take to your social media. Say something about it. Don't be silent. And that's what Holy Spirit told me. Share that. Share that. People need to know just because you are Christ-like you're not exempt. You're not exempt from seeing this. You're not exempt from feeling this. But what we have to do is take a stand against it in whatever way we can, whether that's on our social media platforms, whether that's teaching our children the opposite. Everybody, post something on your social media. Say something. Say something. You know, when you don't, it's like you're silently agreeing, or you're or should I say non-attached to it. You're distant. You're numb to it. You don't have, like, it don't bother me. It doesn't affect me. So why would I get in a fight that's not mine? It affects your brothers and your sisters all across the globe, not just black people, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Islamics, Chinese, Asians. It affects us all, guys. Christian doesn't equal silent. Yes. It means speak out. Yes. To say injustice, like the scales of justice. God, bring the scales of justice where these innocent blood that's crying out. God. So I just wanted to get on here and not to have a say in what's happening. Like, oh, she just wants to become relevant. No, I just experienced this. And I want people to know that no matter how much you pray, no matter how good you think you are, evil is evil. Yes, today, yes, it was George Floyd. Tomorrow it may be closer to home. It may be your brother. It may be your sister. It may be somebody that you love, you know, that's experiencing this. And to cry out against it and to say no more. You know, that's just my 11-year-old, my 12-year-old's experience. I can imagine if he was 25 and looked more threatening, would the kids have went and got their parents? You know, what if the kids would have went and got their parents that spewed the evil toward them, that taught them the evil, that was even more wicked? What would they have done to my baby? Jesus. God. So listen, y'all, I'm not trying to get on here and rant. And when I was meditating on it and just thinking about it, it caused me to just want to cry. And God told me to, you know, use my platform to say no more. Say my child's name. His name is not Nigger. His name is Malachi Downs. A straight A student, loved by many, gifted, called, anointed. He can draw, he can write, he can play. You know, like, say his name. So I'm about to get off here because my walk is about done and I have somewhere to be today. And I just wanted to get on here and look, teach your sons, teach your daughters. They don't have to stand down, but teach them to stand up. I told him, use your voice. Tell them that's not my name. And tell them who you are. So, all right. Love you guys.